live. Yeah, we going live. Hey, we going live. Yeah, we going live. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello.
I am Jarrett, the football genius Burgess.
And I'm Stephanie Fitzpatrick, a.k.a. the Advantage Coach.
This is episode 69 of the Field to the Real podcast.
Wow.
I am excited about these numbers, continuing to just roll forward.
These numbers going up are great.
Yeah, right. Rona,
Yes.
I need your numbers to go down.
Go down, to zero, right now. Yes, for sure.
We are still quarantining. I hope you guys are too, because we really want to stop the spread of this thing.
Yes, and if you are getting out, we know that this is the 4th of July weekend for whoever feels like they should be celebrating it.
Right.
Be socially responsible. Because, I can't say I've been quarantining the whole time. I did go to the beach this weekend, guys, but I was socially responsible at the beach. So please be conscious of your actions while you're out, even if you choose to be out. But I think the safe thing right now with these numbers and the way that it's happening is to stay as close to home as possible.
As possible, yeah. Some people who don't have a choice. And for those people who don't have a choice, or I understand for your mental health, some people you got to get out for a second. Yeah. So in those events, definitely do it responsibly.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Who's really right?
Yes.
This was a tough one because I feel like before we even get started, you kind of won me over with your argument. But I told you I took a little detour down kind of the path I was thinking about. And let's not leave you guys in suspense anymore. Who's really right for this week is, should Kirk Ferentz be allowed to improve Iowa? For those of you who don't know, Kirk Ferentz is the head football coach at the University of Iowa. And he's come under fire over the last couple of months because of some things that have gone down at Iowa, whether it be the former strength and conditioning coach or the actions of his son, who's one of the coaches. There have been some things going on with the program, and Stephanie and I kind of came up with the idea of, for this who's really right, would it be best for him to stay because he's now taking the appropriate measures to, understand the gripes of his players? Or should it be it for him? And as mostly, Stephanie, ladies first.
Okay. So my take on this is kind of probably not the answer that people would assume, but my take on this is obviously that I feel like he deserves the opportunity to rectify what has been wronged. And I say that not just, I hadn't even read this when we had this conversation, but in reading his response to what has happened and him being willing to admit, I had a blind spot and not really operating a program where the minority kids, the Black kids on his team, felt comfortable in speaking their truth. He didn't have that kind of culture set up in his football program, and recognizing those things. I feel like anybody who knows what's going on in our country right now understands that a lot of the reason that things are happening the way they are now with corporations coming forward, or people speaking out, people outside of African Americans speaking out on our behalf, is because they are taking their blinders off, and there's some willful ignorance that's being being acknowledged from people. And I think that is the stance that he's taken, that Kirk Ferentz has taken, is it was willful ignorance on his part. And I'm all for the, I think it's biblical actually, the thing that, as long as you don't know, then you can't be held accountable for it. But the moment you know, then now what are you going to do about it? And that's always been my stance from the beginning on this, when people were like, coaches need to come out and say something, and coaches need to, but I don't care what you say. What are you doing? What are you doing? What's happening in your locker room with those kids that look at you in a way that is somebody that they should be looking up to? So are you setting that environment and that culture in your locker room that is giving them what they need? And so I feel like he deserves at least the opportunity to correct and rectify, only because now, even more so because I've read that he's like, you know what, it was a blind spot. And I don't know how. He said he even asked himself, how did you get this blind spot? Where did this come from? You know what I mean? And so you're acknowledging it and you're making a change, because I know that he has set it up. He's got a committee of kids within his football program to kind of hold and set accountability for them. And I appreciate that you're making those kind of steps to try to rectify the situation. So at least an opportunity to make the difference, at least an opportunity to make the change. Because, if it were about us making a mistake and one and done,
Right. I done made plenty.
Woo, buddy. Listen, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm all for, on his behalf. Now, some of the things that have been alleged that were said by other people, that might not be so much willful ignorance as ignorance itself.
Right.
And so making changes to your staff might be necessary in this situation. But I don't think I've heard anybody say, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, that he said or did anything. Yeah. It wasn't him. It was just people's staff members. Yeah. And so sometimes you got to weed out, even if it's your son, weed out that which is not helpful in order to move forward. You know what I mean? Those people, I don't give you a pass, because that's not willful ignorance. That is not the same thing.
This is intent.
Yes.
And it's funny because in talking about that yesterday, I think one of the things that, or one of the words that came to mind when we had our production meeting was grace. And so, like you said, it's biblical. And I know that, I've had to be given grace, at times in my life. And so, that's what swayed me, sort of. That's what sort of swayed me in my argument. I didn't feel like he needed to be banished from college football, but I felt like he should be let go from Iowa and maybe allowed to coach somewhere else and establish a culture at another school. We see coaches get fired for less.
True.
And it's not about the fact that he personally didn't do these things. So when we talked about the analogy of using Penn State yesterday, we did acknowledge that it wasn't fair from the standpoint of these are two totally different issues. My only thing about that was just, one, the loyalty. Because he's going to be loyal to his son. And if your son is doing and saying some of the things that are alleged, and you are going to stick by him, then, you know what I'm saying, you got to cut the head off the snake.
Yeah.
And two, just the willful ignorance, like you talked about. You know, I don't think that Joe Paterno would have, had he known, just allowed Sandusky to do these things.
No.
But it was something that he didn't want to believe about his friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, by all accounts, he did what was lawful, but not necessarily what was ethical.
Right.
And, you know, he paid the price for that. Those kids paid the price.
Lord,
you know, that program paid the price.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's been a lot of damage done already. And I don't think that he should just be thrown away. It's like, when you know better, you do better. And so
right.
I still feel like he should have the opportunity to do better, but just somewhere else. Not at Iowa. I think the best thing that could be done is to just get an entire new regime in there and create the type of culture that the players, I'm sure, have been discussing since a lot of these things have come out. But like I said yesterday, and just in talking about this, because initially I was just like, no, fire him.
Fire him, right.
But in that conversation you had, like, you know, when it's your turn, I mean, when it's somebody else, you know, we may not always think that grace needs to be applied here, you know, because it's always the worst thing in the world when it's somebody else. But when you get to reflect on the fact of, yeah, man, you needed grace at some point in your life too. So,
right.
You know, and so to that point, like, I don't think that he should be banished from football or that he should never coach again. But I feel like this was a great, you know, lesson to learn.
Absolutely.
But in the lesson, like, for a lot of people comes consequence.
True.
You know,
this is true. He's being graced even more.
Right.
Yeah. Right. To continue to have your job, even though as the leader of your team, you know, and honestly, as the leader, you should know these things.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that one of the things I hope that he learns from this is having a policy where if a kid has an issue, he has a recourse to have conversation with if it's you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know, I know coaches are it's a kind of a hierarchy, and, you know, if you got something, you got to talk to your position coach or, you know, another, but no, it needs to be, but if this is something that the position coach or somebody that I don't feel comfortable having these conversations with the people that are at this point, at this level, I need to talk to the head, then they should have that ability. Then that's across the board, not just Iowa's program. That's
that should be every sport.
Every sport. Yep.
Yeah. And we talked about this yesterday. That's why I truly appreciated Coach Rayford Petty, my head coach, for the majority of my career at Howard. My senior year, I had a different coach, but Coach Petty, every year we had an entrance and exit meeting, and we sat in those meetings, and it was one-on-one. Just you and the head coach, and we talked about way more than just football. As a matter of fact, I can think about a time, and this wasn't even one of those entrance or exit meetings. When I first got to school, workouts had started, but football hadn't started yet. Spring practice hadn't started. I had got there the spring semester, and one of my friends was shot and paralyzed. And the very next day, I hadn't even told anybody. He called me into his office, and he had a conversation with me about what happened, how I was feeling about it, and trying to make sure that I wasn't, you know, one of those guys where I wanted to go get
revenge
or something like that. And so I appreciated that. Like,
that's awesome.
I don't talk to Coach Petty that often, but every time I see him, his love, his wife was like a second mother to me. And I watched his kids grow up from preteens to actually going to school. And his son was actually his son that year that the University of Maryland had all of those quarterbacks go out with ACL injuries.
Mm-hmm.
His son had went to Maryland. He was a high school quarterback, went to Maryland and played outside linebacker. He ended up switching over because all of those quarterbacks got hurt, burning his red shirt, and he was the starting quarterback at the University of Maryland.
Wow.
Sean Petty.
Wow.
But shout out to Coach Petty. We spent. I'm sorry.
You good. You good. You had to go down memory lane.
Right. But if you want to, if you believe Stephanie is who's really right, definitely click the link with her name on it. He believes that Coach Ferentz should keep his job. If you think I'm really right, click the button with my name on it, or you can go to social media and say who you think is really right.
Mm-hmm.
Hit us up on Twitter or Instagram, and let us know. I'd say that he should probably be fired and go somewhere else and build his new legacy of not being ignorant.
Well, then there's that. Okay. Not being ignorant. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Well, y'all let us know who's really right. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Cam Newton, I know you and I know that you were super hyped when you saw this.
Not.
No? Well, no, not where he signed to.
No, yeah, that he was signed. Oh, yes. I was that part very, very. It's a bittersweet moment.
Yes.
Yes, this is a bittersweet moment for me because I am very happy to see that Cam Newton has signed with an NFL team.
Yes.
However,
Patriot talk.
However, the team, literally, it was. I saw the headline that said NFL Cam Newton signs, and I get excited, and then I see 1-year deal, and then I see Patriots. I was like, it went from yes to.
Now, do you think part of that is because when we discussed this a couple of months ago?
Oh, good.
I said that he was going to the Patriots.
Listen, so my niece just left today. She's been here with me. When I was reading it, right? She was sitting there. She was sitting on the couch. I was in my chair. And I read it, and I was like, Cam got it. And then I said, darn it, that means Jarrett was right.
Oh,
she
man.
fell out laughing. She was like, you are funny, Auntie. I'm like, no, I'm serious. He was right. I was like, darn it.
We don't have many of these, so I got to relish in it.
Hey, it's okay. Get it in. Go ahead. Sir. Yeah, get it in. No, but yeah, I'm definitely, this is bittersweet for me. I'm very happy for him. I just, there of all places.
So I guess the hard part about it is that I'm going to have to want the Patriots to do well because I need Cam Newton to do well. And this kind of leads into the subtopic.
I was about to be like, but I remember now. Yes.
The subtopic of this conversation.
We got to root for the Patriots.
We got to root for the Patriots. We got to. At least just for this season. Because I don't think that he'll resign there, especially if he does great.
I hope not. Lord. This doesn't even feel right. Like,
yeah. I'm gonna get you a Cam Newton jersey.
Don't you dare die. Yeah, it's okay. I'm all right. My sister hasn't talked to me because she's a Patriots fan, so she's probably like, just over the moon.
I'm sure.
Anyway.
But the reason why we need him to do well is because when we look at the specifics of this deal, I would call it downright disgusting that Cam Newton had to sign for the veteran minimum, which means that he will be a starting quarterback that's making less than some third-string quarterbacks. Now,
Don't just say it like that. Say what you really mean, Jerry.
So
say what you really mean.
So I think that far too often, and I can't remember if we touched on this subject, some time back, because we a year and a half in now. we didn't got this episode 69.
Right, we veterans at this thing now, so yeah.
But when it comes to quarterbacking in the NFL, it seems like white mediocrity is awarded over black excellence. And when you hear that saying, you got to work twice as hard to get half as far. When you look at the salaries of some of these guys who are going to be making more money than Cam Newton this year, like, it's sickening. Like, I'm gonna name a few, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I won't name him because he's a rookie. Wait, why is he making so little? Dwayne Haskins did get drafted in the first round, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So he's making $1.15 million.
There's part of your argument. Go ahead.
Okay. So let me get to some of the people who are making more money than Cam. Mike Glennon for the Jaguars.
Who knows who that is?
Who that is? Geno Smith, the backup in Seattle. This one's gonna get you.
No.
Blaine Gabbert.
Huh?
Blaine Gabbert.
Stop it. You're kidding, right? How about I didn't even know he was still in the league?
Me neither. He's Tom Brady's backup.
Shut up. In Tampa Bay?
In Tampa Bay, he's Tom Brady's backup.
What are y'all doing?
Tom Brady better never get hurt.
Bruce, right. Yes. Bruce, what are you doing, bro?
I'm gonna go to some more like truly trifling Jones.
Okay.
Nathan Peterman.
Who is that?
The guy who took over for the Bills a couple years back and threw 4 interceptions.
Okay. Oh, more than Cam?
More than Cam.
Jesus, take the wheel. Yeah.
Nate Sudfeld.
Again.
3rd string quarterback for the Eagles. Matt Barkley.
I know that is.
I didn't know he was still in the league.
Me either. You see me like, okay.
But apparently he's.
Uh-oh. Who is it?
Chase Daniel. I don't even want to read them.
Radio silence, y'all. Sorry. We got to process
guys.
that.
It's just, it's hard to read some of those names and then think that Cam Newton, a former NFL MVP, is going to be making less money than some of these journeyman quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like, what do you call that?
Are you asking for real?
Nah, I mean, it was rhetorical, but
okay.
I can't.
Yeah, I don't. I just watched a clip on social media with Viola Davis, kind of talking about her journey and how she's won award after award after award, and still, yet she's still, and even people will call her and tell her she is like the black blankety blank person, like these people who are, and she said, but I still can't get jobs or the money that they make.
Sad.
So it is just, this is a societal thing. This is part of what we're dealing with right now. And I don't know if it's shame on Cam's representation for accepting that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or I guess it's more of, like you said, I just need to prove myself again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to just take this opportunity that's being given to me. But still, can we respect the man for what he's done? Because you would respect anybody else.
Well, we've seen
the
it.
People
in the
that
form
ain't
of
done nothing. They haven't done anything.
Nathan Peterman's getting $3 million in Oakland.
And you haven't done anything.
He's going to be a third stringer. Because they just got Marcus Mariota.
Right.
So Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota, and Nathan Peterman.
Making more money than Cam Newton.
I don't know.
It's disheartening. That's what I'm gonna say. It's disheartening. But Cam, go. Now I gotta be a Patriots fan. Dang.
You gotta listen. Wear the jersey.
Right. No, I don't know about that.
That's asking too much.
That's asking. I might be able to put on some blue and some red or whatever, but I'm not gonna be able to buy no jersey. It's not happening.
No. I'm with you.
I don't even want no Cam. No, thank you.
Ain't no Patriot stuff touching my skin.
No.
I'm about to have to get rid of my team. If they don't change his name, you know what I'm saying? I was thinking to myself, and this is a bit of a tangent, and I promise I won't stay here. I was thinking to myself, how would I feel if there was a team called the Baltimore Blackies?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, so I initially when this first happened, I looked at the video that Dan Snyder had put out, his propaganda machine, in order to keep the name, right? And so you had all of these indigenous people who were saying, we take pride in this name, we thank the representation. And then I started digging a little more in there. The voices have gotten drowned out, but there are a lot more voices of people saying like, yo, this is offensive.
I mean, and the funny thing is, this is where for us as African Americans, we have to take responsibility for our own, you know what I mean? And say the same way that we feel about certain things, we have to be able to respect and honor people for the way they feel about things.
Right.
And so we are being no better.
Yeah.
And the people that we calling out as racist.
True.
When we okay with it.
Yeah.
We're practicing the same kind of willful ignorance.
Yep.
That they do. So we can't. Yeah. So I get it. And So I hope that we can stand with the Native Americans and indigenous people in this time and speak up with them while we have this momentum going, because even though it's been such a Black Lives Matter has been like the kind of undercurrent of this is not just about Black lives. This is about brown, Black people, brown and Black people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they are experiencing some of the same things we do.
All of the oppressed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All of the oppressed minority communities of this country.
Yeah. And so we need to make it broader and embrace them and in bringing them in as this voice is being made louder.
Right.
Yeah. What are your issues? We got to deal with those too. Now, I mean, I know that I'm not dismissing the things that are happening, because Black people are definitely experiencing things at a higher rate than anybody.
Right.
But that still doesn't negate the fact that while we're having these conversations, it might be a good idea to incorporate some things that other people who are oppressed are experiencing as well, as we seek equality.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What made my heart smile was, and this was 4 years ago. You guys can go look this up if you want to. Bomani Jones went on ESPN and wore a shirt that said Caucasians with a white man's head on it, it was like the Indians logo, but with a green dollar bill instead of the little thing sticking up. Oh my gosh, I laughed. I saw it again today and I bust out laughing at it. But people were
Wow.
outraged about the shirt,
But you're not
but
outraged
didn't
about
see the hypocrisy in the
right.
outrage.
Wow. That is the, and I don't assume that everybody that was outraged was white, but I'm gonna assume because the majority in our country is white, and that's who majority of the people who were outraged were, and therefore I would say that's white supremacy at its finest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. Okay.
All right, Ian Desmond.
Yeah.
So he Ian Desmond gave his take on baseball's lack of investment into diverse communities.
Yeah.
And it's honestly it's a conversation that's been around for a while, but it just continues to kind of fall to the background.
Through the cracks. Yep. I think now might be a good time.
Yeah.
With everything that's going on, it might be better. This was probably the same way that whole video showed how people back when Colin Kaepernick was protesting peacefully didn't get behind him then, but now it's like, so I think this is just all about timing. And so I think this is great timing. And not only is he talking about this, but he's not even playing this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's chosen not to even play baseball this season.
Who's he playing with this year?
The Rockies.
Rockies, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I vividly remember him playing briefly with the Nationals.
Of course.
But I make everything is DC.
Of course. That's why I said of course.
DC or nothing.
That's right. Pretty much. I don't even know how you stand to stay in Atlanta, I promise.
Oh no, I had to get away from up there.
Wait, now what? DC or nothing, except that I don't want to live there.
Except I can't live there. Oh man.
Sure. Okay.
All right. So I missed the health moment. The person we have for the day is Frances Altick. Mm-hmm. And her story is interesting because while the people we've talked about over the last few weeks, like depression and anxiety, have been kind of a common theme. Mm-hmm. Her coping mechanisms were the thing that kind of stood out to us. And so, give a little bit of background about her. Frances Altick was a tennis player. She played at Vanderbilt University. She won a national championship as a junior and was an All-American as a senior. And she put a lot of her self-worth in her identity of being an elite tennis player.
Wow.
And she talked about
deep all in itself.
Yeah. She talked about in the article how she suffered from depression and anxiety while she was in college. Mm-hmm. But her coping mechanisms, were able to mask it. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that she said was like being lonely. And she supplemented that by constantly having people around. And she would binge eat and then purge as kind of another way to cope. And so she said that once she turned pro and she did a lot of traveling, it was very lonely. She had to go around from place to place. She didn't have as many people around. And so she said that it got even worse. She said that she never got to the point of like being suicidal, but it did hit a fever pitch when she tore her ACL in 2017. And so
now we got to start talking about your identity.
Right, because
that's all you identify with. So if we take that away, then it's kind of been your crutch, right? It's been your crutch. Like, but I got tennis, so I'm good. You know, yeah.
And so when tennis is taken away, and so she said that was the lowest point of her life. Mm-hmm. But it was the best thing that ever happened to her because not having tennis, she had to, derive her self-identity in something other than tennis. And so she was able to do that. She talks glowingly about her therapist and how
that's awesome.
Just her therapist I don't think she said it in these words, but basically a therapist is like her best friend.
that happens sometimes. Like it's just is what it is. That happens sometimes.
I thought her story was certainly one. I don't think that any of the other people that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks, like their coping mechanisms didn't avail themselves in the same way.
Right.
You know.
No, and it could have been that they used other things to cope when they weren't aware of what was going on, but they didn't talk about them. So for her to be able to, even share that, these were the things that I did, as unhealthy as they might have been, these were the things that I did to try to help mask it from me. It wasn't even, they are called coping mechanisms, but really they're masking, because it's you not really, operating in a healthy way. You know what I mean? So, but I'm glad, that's why we do what we do, guys. Like, honestly, because just what she said is so true of so many athletes. They just see themselves as an athlete. Yeah. And they identify with that wholeheartedly because they're really good at it. They put their all into it. And when that's threatened or gone, they don't have any true, well, who am I to fall back on? And so that's why it's so important that we help. That's why we do while the project we want to make sure that while you're still in a situation and in a setting where you can gain a skill or knowledge to help you with going forward beyond the sport, that you do that. Like, you don't just let this just drive you and then there's nothing. You drive right off the cliff when it's over. Right. Yeah. So
that's why we created the project.
That's why. The project was before the podcast.
Right.
So just know that's why we did it.
The podcast was to promote the project.
Right. And it's turning its own beast over here. But yeah, we that's our first passion and our first love, and what we do is to making sure that athletes understand that you're more than just an athlete. We hear this all the time, and I think it's kind of gotten so common that it's not even poignant anymore to say you're more than an athlete or you're more than the sport, because they hear it so much now. Yeah. But I there has to be a way to get the message out and to affect change and help these young people understand while they're still young and while they're still learning and growing. Like, you've got way more to you than just that one thing. Yeah. Sorry, that's me going off on my little.
Oh no, it's not. It's good.
You know how I feel about this. Like, that this mental health thing is serious because these are things that sometimes can be avoided.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes can be avoided. They don't even have to happen, but we got to be in a space and in a place to be able to. So to all of those people who listen to our podcast, if you know of any programs, collegiate programs out there, especially HBCUs, because that's where our heart is. We are really trying to do this work, and anybody who can put a word in, you've listened, it's our passion. Right. So, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's good. So certainly slide us in. If you know somebody who's in athletic administration at one of these schools, like Stephanie said, this is our passion. This is our purpose. Yeah. And so we want to affect change in the lives of some of these young men, so that they don't get to this point. Yeah. Like, certainly to help the ones who are already here, and we can steer that boat in a different direction. But like preventative, like
we want to be proactive, not reactive.
Right. Yes. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. To the real. Go ahead. On to the real.
Oh no, we all good. Now, a few weeks ago, he was our feel-good final thought. So
that's okay.
When we were discussing him yesterday, we were like, man, we want to have him as On to the Real, but we couldn't remember. Yeah. We had him as On to the Real a few weeks ago. But Maurice Clarett. Yes. Man, this young man after having been released from prison,
Hmm.
doing all of the things that you think about when you hear the term rehabilitated. And
Right.
we know that's a concept that's more, well, I don't want to say that, but it's not a real thing.
Not in the
Not in the
sense of
sense
not
of
in the sense of the rehabilitative, the propaganda that's
right,
promoted from the justice system
right.
side of things,
I was
basically.
I was about to say something real,
So I'm trying to be politically correct
right,
here.
yeah. I'm just,
Uh-huh.
I had to hold on to that. I was
From
like, all
that,
right, hold
yeah. So it doesn't equate to that oftentimes.
on. Right,
Most times for people who have been put through the prison system, that they come out and they're able to adjust and make the changes and things that we've seen from Maurice Clarett.
right.
But I think that his before prison was so critical in making him able to come out in a different way too. So let's just put that out there, because most people who go to prison haven't played college football.
That's true.
On this biggest stage they can, or you know what I mean? So let's put that out there, not to be knocking anybody who struggles with, re-entry into the world, because that's a real thing.
Because
that's a real thing.
It's a different type of thing that comes with that,
Yeah.
And so not all young men who get released from prison get these opportunities.
No, young people, period. I don't care if you're young, old, black, white, male, female. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It doesn't happen like that.
No.
But so Maurice Clarett just received a position as a consultant at University of Connecticut.
Amazing.
And I'm not sure if he'll be still doing the stuff that we talked about.
I'm sure he's not gonna put that down.
Yeah. I was hoping not.
No,
because I was thinking, like, as a consultant, he'll be able to be there and kind of move, back and forth. Connecticut isn't too far from Ohio.
Well, okay,
but
planes work, so
right, true. But just the fact that he got this opportunity and he didn't squander it, and one of the things he talked about when we talked about him last was just changing his mindset and his habits. One of the things that he said he had to stop doing was he had to stop drinking alcohol. And, to see him do the work in that, now he's being rewarded for it.
Right.
But not rewarded for, like, his glory, so to speak. But
no.
To actually give back. And to be there, to be that preventative measure for guys who may be going down that same road that he was going. So, kudos to you, Mr. Clarett.
Yes, I love it. This is a scenario of walking in your purpose and room being made for you.
Yeah,
that's what this is.
Yeah,
that's exactly what that is. He came out and he said, you know what? I went through that for somebody else. So let me get on my job and let me talk to these kids. And then talking to those kids has led him to this. It's just, the gift is making room. Like, it's just, yeah.
And if you guys haven't noticed, the theme of this episode is grace.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is certainly a manifestation of grace.
Absolutely. And I love it. Yeah. I love it. Good luck. Good luck in your endeavor, sir, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Feel good final thought.
Yeah.
Now, folks have been talking about, well, after Kyrie kind of came out, or he leaked it to the media, that the NBA had been having conversations around halting play and not having attention being taken away from this movement. I guess folks behind the scene have been having some actionable items that they wanted to, I guess, happen before they made the decision to come back and play. And so one of the things that the NBA has implemented, the NBA and the NBPA have implemented, is that the players, and I don't know if this was finalized as far as the messages on the jersey, but the players.
I did read today. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because
the one thing that I did read today is no names.
Okay.
No names of victims. That's the only thing I've heard them say they cannot do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw like a kind of and it's good that you told me that too, because I saw like a one that they were kind of just trying to project, and it had like Breonna Taylor's name on it.
Nope.
And so, yeah, I could assume that they probably wouldn't have allowed that, but they will be able to have social justice messages on the back of their jerseys, and every floor on both sides or both sidelines, you'll see Black Lives Matter along the court. And I thought that was super dope.
I mean, what do we expect? It's Adam Silver.
Right. You know.
I mean, he's the bomb. Like, I want to work for this man. Anybody listening and they need a life coach in the NBA at a higher level, I'm here for it. Because I want to go work for this man. Him, I work for sure.
We want to have a campaign, hashtag get Stephanie to Silver.
Something.
Let's get Stephanie to Silver.
Yes, I'm telling you, I love it. I'm down to work for this man. Like, real talk. Yes. Yeah, this is great. I think this is awesome. I think it was a great, I don't want to say compromise, because I don't think that's what it was. But I think it was a great offering on the part of the NBA to respond to the concerns that Kyrie and other players had. Right. You know what I mean? Like, we get it. We see what you're saying. We don't want this to be a distraction. And so here's how we can help continue the message while we still play the game. It's brilliant. It was brilliant.
Definitely.
Brilliant.
Definitely. And we didn't expect anything less from Adam Silver.
No.
You know, he listens to his players. Like,
absolutely.
If there isn't a commissioner out there who listens, he listens. So
absolutely.
Shout out to Commissioner Silver.
Yes.
But shout out to the NBPA and all of those reps who made sure to voice how they wanted to kind of keep this thing going and not take the momentum off of this movement that we're seeing. Yeah.
Awesome job. So, like, literally, that was one of those I'm smiling type. When I saw this, I was like, I'm smiling because this is good stuff. Like, because, you know, my take on it was, nope, don't play.
Don't play.
If it's going to take away from but this, brilliant. Love it. I'm all for it. I mean, I don't want y'all to play for health reasons now, but especially not in Florida. But but nonetheless, if they're taking all of the safety precautions they can to make sure that people stay safe, then fine. You know what I mean? And more power to you. But yeah, I'm down for this. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, NFL, what you going to? Let's go.
Yeah, let's see what you do, Goodell.
Yeah, what you gonna do? And I only say the NFL and NBA because they are two sports with the majority of their players being African American. So I mean, other sports, I'm down for you to participate as well. But for sure, these two sports, you don't have a choice, really. So now, Goodell, what are you gonna do?
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Yeah. So let's see. All right.
Show picks.
Yes.
What you got for us?
So first one is called Netflix. They're both Netflix shows. The first one is called Regular Heroes.
Okay.
Narrated by different celebrities, but just spotlighting essential workers who are like out here doing their thing. And just regular old people who are doing their thing, but in all different areas, from teachers to obviously healthcare workers to what do they call them? grocery store workers, everybody. Like, it literally touches on all kinds of people, and I love it, and I think it's important. And I'm just grateful that somebody thought enough to say, let's go and highlight some of the work that just these people who we don't see every day, don't know their names, what they're doing.
Right.
So
these
love
unheralded
that.
people.
Yes, love it. And the second, listen, if you just need something to, we know the world is heavy right now, between COVID and social justice and just all in unemployment and all of the things that are happening around COVID and social justice. If you just need a laugh, just I call it a dumb moment. Listen, let me tell you something. This movie is it.
Yeah.
It is. First of all, I am a huge Will Ferrell fan.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start there. But this is his latest stupidity. It's called Eurovision. And it is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. He is playing an Icelandic pop star. Mm-hmm. And listen, y'all, I don't even just go watch, okay? Yeah. If you need something to just laugh at and just be like, okay, this is the stupidest thing, that is it.
When we talked about this during the production meeting, I turned it on immediately. Yeah. Only needed to say Will Ferrell to sell me.
Yeah.
And it did not disappoint.
It did not.
It did not disappoint. It was hilarious. Will Ferrell is dumb. Dumb,
I tell you. Where do you come up with these things? How do you say I'm going to be an Icelandic pop star? Where does this come from?
I don't know, but he certainly did a great job on it.
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was a good movie. It's something that I'll go and watch again.
Oh, listen, I plan to.
Yeah.
When I'm in one of those spaces and I just I'm going to watch that movie because it's either that or I got to go find Semi-Pro or something. It'll be one of his movies. Yeah. So, So, yeah.
So you about to make me watch that tonight.
Oh, my gosh. That is one of my favorite movies. I will not lie. That is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
All right.
I got one.
Yeah.
Marlon.
Marlon. I was waiting on you to say it so I can say that. Marlon.
That show is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
This is another one. Like, if you just need some.
Yes.
Dumb.
Because he's stupid, man.
But it's a good show.
It is. I love
show.
the concept too. Like, it being like good parents, even though you're not together. You know what I mean? Right. Like, that whole concept, because it's reality of the world we live in.
Right.
That's possible. So that co-parenting, I just love it. It's fun.
And hearing him talk about it's actually based off of his real life.
Exactly.
And so it's good when art can imitate life.
Yeah.
And it can be funny because it isn't.
Well, I can only imagine what it's really like being his child. Like, I can't. Oh, jeez. Okay. Yeah. So that's a pretty good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna make me go watch episodes again. Like,
you're gonna have to. I had to go back through. I was so upset, and we talked about this yesterday. I was so upset that it got canceled.
Right.
It only made it 2 seasons.
Show. Yeah.
Yeah. But I felt like it deserved, a few more seasons.
Absolutely. Yeah. If the dumb show him and his brother did, what was the dumb show they did?
Oh, the Wayne's Bros.
Yes, if that stayed on longer than 2 seasons, then this should have stayed on.
Yeah, it should have.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay.
We at the end of another one.
Yeah. Okay.
Episode 69 of the books.
I know we're about to get off. I know we need to hurry up, but I have to say this because I have been seeing it more and more, and I just needed. I wasn't gonna say it, but it just will not leave my spirit. Mm-hmm. To my young Black and brown brothers, mm-hmm. We are at war for something bigger and greater for you and your future right now. And so I implore you to put down your weapons and your fight against one another.
Mm-hmm.
We personally have seen, I just saw a 14-year-old was killed here in Charlotte last night. A young man that went to the high school that I worked in, that Jarrett currently works in, was killed over $10. $10 this past week. And all he was doing was trying to save money to buy a car. He wasn't out. So before people say, well, yeah, what was he doing? He got off work from his job and went out to sell water because he was trying to save up for a car. This young man did not deserve to die over $10. Nobody deserves to die over $10 personally, but I'm just saying.
He just graduated.
He just graduated from the high school. And so it is so heavy on my spirit that we don't need, this is part of the argument that people keep having. Well, as long as you're killing each other, what is it? And so let's put it down. Let's stop now, because we need all of you here. We need all of what you got to bring to the table.
Right.
Every one of you is amazingly, fearfully, wonderfully made, and you have something amazing to do for this world. And so don't allow your environment, your circumstances to dictate your actions. Just put them down.
Yeah.
That's all I need to say. All right.
No, that's well said. When I saw that news article
that you sent me,
young man, that I sent it to you as soon as I got it. And, I ain't even usually up that late.
Right. I was like, what is this? Yeah.
And it just touched me, especially to see that his mom still had that $10 bill, But I echo your sentiments. We are fighting for something bigger, like this petty stuff amongst ourselves, it's only it only serves to rob the narrative of what we're fighting for. So, it's something bigger we're fighting for. So please squash these beefs.
Yeah.
And, pick up this mantle that, we're trying to pass.
Yeah. If you're angry, I get it. Use that in a positive way, though. Like, instead of fighting each other, go do something with the protests, or, you know what I mean? Or within your community, like, fight for right. That's all I'm going to say. If you got to fight for right. That's all. I'm sorry. It was in my spirit, and I just couldn't let it go without saying it. So
I'm glad you said something.
Yeah.
Definitely glad you said something.
Yeah.
If you guys want to reach out to us, definitely hit us up at the Field to the Real podcast on IG. That's with the number 2, Field 2, the number 2. On Twitter, it's Field, the number 2, the real P1. I'm sorry. Every time I think about that, I'm just like, come on, Twitter. If you want to reach out to us via email, shoot us an email at fieldtotherealpodcast@gmail.com. And go to our YouTube page. Subscribe, comment, like, share, all that good jazz.
Yes. Please and thank you.
Yes. But
please, and share the podcast. Like real talk. Tell people about us, because we're trying to, I think we talk about some good stuff that needs to be known, people need to know and hear. So come on, y'all. Help us out.
Please and thanks.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys. We love y'all.
Yeah. Yep.
Peace.
Now put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.